journey to the sea. Daily, Gandhi tramped about 10 miles. On the way, he spoke on his familiar themes, beseeching the people to abjure alcohol, abandon child marriage, and, when the signal came, to break the salt law. As the procession marched through village after village, the people followed the fortunes of this marching column from day to day, and the temperature of the country went up. The army was marching in a disciplined manner. The agile general in front was indeed a source of inspiration to all. The march continued, and the message of sedition came in clearer and firmer tones. In 10 days, the marchers covered 115 miles, half the distance between Sabarmati and Dandi. The pitch of the people's emotion was rising, and so was the readiness for sacrifice. On the 15th day, the band reached Broch and crossed the river Narmada. April came. Gandhi drew near to the sea, and the country waited for the word to begin civil disobedience. Gandhi conducted his daily prayer meetings and spoke at all the halting places. Seeking the people's cooperation for the righteous struggle, he observed, Satyagraha cannot succeed without a spirit of purity and self-sacrifice. The rebel preached the duty of disloyalty. Loyalty to a state so corrupt is a sin, disloyalty a virtue. In the area traversed, several village headmen threw up their government jobs. Gandhi admonished his hosts for being lavish and extravagant in welcoming the marchers. In your hospitality towards servants like us, you will have to be miserly rather than lavish. He was confident of enlisting the cooperation of the people. It was his feeling that women would contribute more to the struggle for Swaraj than men. Gandhi voiced his firm determination to win Swaraj. Either I shall return with what I want, or my dead body will float in the ocean. Monday was a day of rest every week. Gandhi insisted on the ashram routine being followed by every one of the pilgrims, especially in 3 essentials: prayer, spinning, and writing the daily diary. That rigorous self-discipline will generate in us, said he, a force which will enable us to retain what we have won. Truth was once again on the march. Never was the wave of patriotism so powerful in the hearts of Indians as it was on this great occasion. The eyes of the world were focused on Gandhi and on Dandi, a small village on the seashore in Gujarat, which was preparing to receive streams of men and women. Dandi, the destination of the great march, was in sight. After a 241-mile-long trek, lasting for 24 days, the pilgrims reached the promised land on the morning of April 5th. Sarojini Naidu received Gandhi and his followers on the outskirts of the village. On reaching Dandi, Gandhi felt greatly relieved. God be thanked for what may be termed the happy ending of the first stage in this, for me at least, the final struggle for freedom. Gandhi arrived at his seaside resort for rest. After relaxing for a few hours, he set out to prepare the people for the war against the salt tax that was to begin next morning. Addressing the eager crowds gathered under the banyan tree, Gandhi reaffirmed his decision to break the salt law. God willing, I expect with my companions to commence actual civil disobedience tomorrow morning. 6th April has been to us, since its culmination in the Jallianwala massacre, a day for penance and purification. I am positive that the greater the purification, the speedier will be the glorious end for which the millions of Indians, consciously or unconsciously, are striving. He issued a warning. Those who fear the government will leave. Only those who are prepared for jail-going and for receiving bullets should accompany me tomorrow morning. May God always be with us. On April 6th, the first day of the National Week, Gandhi's morning prayer was more than usually solemn. He gave final instructions for the struggle and nominated Abbas Tayyibji and after him Sarojini Naidu as his successors. Soon after, Gandhi with his satyagrahis proceeded for a bath in the sea before launching the struggle amidst deafening cries of Mahatma Gandhi ki jai. The leaders and his followers bathed in the sea. After the dip into the sea, walking at a slow pace in solemnity, Gandhi picked up a lump of natural salt on the seashore, and the nefarious monopoly was broken. This was the signal for which the nation had been long waiting. The act performed, India had its cue. It seemed as though a spring had been suddenly released all over the country. The agitation and disobedience spread to the far-flung regions. India was seething in revolt. It was open to anyone who would take the risk of prosecution under the salt law to manufacture salt wherever he wished and wherever it was convenient. The main thing was to commit a breach of the obnoxious law. The program impressed the multitude and made them act in an organized way. In town and villages, everywhere within reach of the sea, salt manufacture was the action of the day. Due to the abounding enthusiasm of the people, this program spread like a prairie fire. Most striking was the part of women in the national struggle. In the hour of trial, they came out in large numbers from the seclusion of their homes and threw themselves into the struggle. Gandhi observed, in this non-violent warfare, women's contribution should be much greater than men's. To call women the weaker sex is a libel. It is man's injustice to women. If non-violence is the law of our being, the future is with woman. Many curious expedients were adopted to produce salt. It was waved about in triumph and often auctioned for fancy prices. Nowhere had a law been more peacefully and yet more defiantly disobeyed. All honor to the people who were fighting this unequal battle with bravery and a firm determination to go through the brutalities and tortures perpetrated on them. There were numerous prosecutions, more numerous arrests, far more numerous detentions, forcible seizures of salt, and brutal and savage assaults on the people. And yet, there was unbreakable peace everywhere, and greater determination to prosecute the campaign. The war against the salt tax continued. On the 13th of April ended the most glorious of all the national weeks since 1919. Leaders were being removed from the midst of the people. On the arrest of Jawaharlal Nehru, the Congress president, Gandhi observed, "It is an affront offered to the whole nation." The arch offender was kept free, and his activities continued unabated. Day after day, he went to the surrounding villages and delivered the message of disobedience. This Indian empire was conceived in immorality. Let us therefore pray and work for the destruction of this demonstrably immoral system with the national creed of non-violence. Sisters should picket liquor shops, opium dens, and foreign cloth shops. For who can make a more effective appeal to the heart than women? Foreign cloth undermines the economic foundations of the nation and throws millions out of employment. So, young and old in every home should play the takli and spin. Testing time seems to be coming faster than I had expected. We must accustom ourselves to standing unmoved in the face of cavalry or baton charges or bullets. Gandhi sounded a warning to the black regime. If the government neither arrest nor declare the salt free, they will find people marching to be shot rather than be tortured. He explained the difference between freedom and license. Freedom is a fruit of suffering. License imposes suffering upon society, and labeled the government as a government of unbridled license. On the promulgation of the Ordinance of the Press Act, Gandhi advised the pressmen to be prepared for handing over their property along with their bodies to the authorities rather than sell their souls. In a mango grove at Karadi, a village near Dandi, Gandhi set up his camp. He sensed that the time had come for greater acts of rebellion. In a draft letter to the Viceroy, he announced his intention to raid the Dharasana salt depot. It would be cowardly on my part not to invite you to disclose to the full the leonine paws of authority and to give the victims an opportunity for greater and greater suffering. Success is the certain result of suffering of the extremist character, voluntarily undergone. Gandhi and his disciples had gone to sleep in the palm leaf hut at Karadi. At dead of night, on May 4th, a sudden tramping of feet was heard, disturbing the quiet repose of the camp. A party of armed constables entered Gandhi's shack to arrest him under Regulation 25 of 1827. His message to the nation was, India's self-respect is symbolized, as it were, in a handful of salt in the Satyagrahi's hand. Let the fist holding it, therefore, be broken, but let there be no voluntary surrender of the salt. I would like our people to make the highest sacrifice of gaining life by losing it. The state prisoner was taken to his old quarters in the Yeravada Central Jail and was detained without trial under the most arbitrary law.